Hello, welcome back. In this recording, I'm going to cover the gradebook setup for both points and weighted grading systems. So I'm going to show points first because A, it's the default on Carmen, and B, it's the most simple of the options. So this setup will let you, this recording will let you get set up with the basics. There are a lot of advanced features you can do in the gradebook, and you can contact support if you think those are something you want in your course. But this should work for most people. So I'm on Carmen. I'm going to go to grades and then gradebook up here in the top navigation bar. And this is kind of a fresh course, so this is what you'll see when you first go if you haven't copied anything over. So you'll see by default that it's taken me the grade setup wizard. I'm on the points-based system and a few other options. This is great. You don't have to go through this, and I usually don't, so I'm just going to go up to the top and click Manage Grades. So when I go to Manage Grades, you'll see there's nothing listed. And I have to start by putting in my grade items. So since I'm on the points-based grade system, I could just go to New, and I can do items and categories. So I'll do item first. And there are several different options. Numeric is almost always what you want, so I'll choose numeric. And I have a few fields to fill out. I have to give it a name, so I will call this exam 1. Category, I can set categories here. I don't have any, so I'll leave that as none. And then points. In a points-based grading system, these are the points that will contribute to the final grade. Your total gradebook doesn't have to add up to 100 or anything like that, but this is the number of points that will finally be weighted. So if my course is 200 points and I want 50% of my grade to be this exam, it would be 100 points. If I wanted it to be 25% of my total grade, it would just be 50 points. And that's what I'll go with now. So can exceed is an option that you'll want to check if you have bonus points for your assignments, specifically quizzes or other papers. So if you're offering bonus, you want them to be able to get over 100%, check that box. The bonus box is just for something that's bonus. So if you offer an option to, do a mini assignment for 5 points, when you put that in your gradebook, you can mark it as bonus. The exclude from final grade calculation is usually not something you want, but you could do that here. That means it will not contribute to the student's overall grade. So I'm just going to go to save and close. When I go back to my gradebook, you'll see that I have one grade item now, exam 1. So the other option that we create was a category, and I'll do that now. So I have an exam, and let's say I have quizzes as well. So I will call this category quizzes. Can exceed operates the same way as it does on a normal grade item. And the big difference between a normal grade item and a category is that you have this distribution option. So you can assign a certain number of points to everything that's in this category. That's really useful if you have quizzes or attendance points. You can check mark that box, assign 2 points per item. You don't have to put the number of points each time. And then you can also choose to drop highest or lowest items for each user. What that does is, for example, in this quizzes, if I had 5 quizzes, but I only want 4 of those quizzes to count, and I want them to be able to drop their lowest assignment, I could just choose to drop the one lowest non-bonus item. So, even though they had 5 quizzes, only 4 would count, and it would automatically choose what the lowest item was for each student. I'm not going to do that now. I'll just do a generic category, and I'll click Save and Close. So it looks a little different because it's got a gray background. Now I'll add an item to it. So I'll add a new item, numeric again, and I'll call this quiz 1. So I have to assign the category, and if you're not using the point distribution options that we saw on the previous page. Categories are really just there for organizational purposes in a point-based gradebook. It looks a lot nicer for students. They'll get subtotals for each category. It looks a little bit better for you as well. So I'll assign it to quizzes. And then points, this is just like it was for the exam item. This is the number of points for the total overall course grade students will get. If you'll recall back, my exam was worth 50 points. So my quiz, I'll just leave it 10. Can exceed and bonus are the same. Exclude from final grade is the same. I'll leave them all unchecked. I'll go to save and new and just create one more. Okay, once it loads, I can just choose numeric again. And then it's the same field, so I will call this one quiz 2, assign it to the quizzes category, I will leave it at 10 points, and then I'll just go to save. So this is what my gradebook looks like. You can see my exam is worth 50 points, my quizzes are each worth 10. That's really the basic setup for a points-based gradebook. So in part 2, I'm going to wipe out my gradebook here and start with doing a weighted gradebook. Okay, so I've wiped out my points-based gradebook, and now I'll show you how to implement the same gradebook in a weighted system. So in my previous example, I had an exam that was worth 50% of the grade, and then I was building quizzes that were also going to there were going to be 5 quizzes each worth 10% of the grade, or 10 points in the points-based example. So I'll go to settings. So the first thing I have to do is switch to the weighted gradebook option, and then it's under calculation options. And weighted is up at the top. And you can see here that they actually provide little examples of what this looks like to help you make your choice. I'll click save. So then I'll go back to grades, gradebook, manage grades. You'll see now it says final calculated grade sums to 0%, not 100%. As a warning. So in a weighted system, things do have to equal 100% total, but the points don't matter. So I can have something that is worth 50 points, that I'm grading out of 50 points, be worth 10% of the grade, and something that I'm grading out of 12 points be 25% of the grade. It really doesn't matter. Carmen will do the math for you, which is really nice. So the first thing I'm going to do in a weighted gradebook is set up the same exam option I started with previously. So I'll go to new item, choose numeric again. I'll call this exam. You'll see there's one extra box here, weight. So points, for an exam, I recommend making the points exactly the same as the number of questions. I happen to know that my exam has 65 questions, and then weight for this example will be the total weight of the final grade item. If something's in a category like we'll show next, this weight means something a little bit different. But for now, I will call that 50. So I have something that I'm grading out of 65 points, and that will be 50% of my course grade. And I don't have to make up weird numbers or grade other assignments out of strange numbers just to make the math easy and straightforward, which is awesome. I'll continue to scroll down and go to save and close. And you'll see I also still have some angry text at the top. So next I'll start working on my quizzes. I'll go to new, category. I'll set up exactly like before, quizzes. And this time weight. This is the total grade or total course grade weight, or the total amount it will contribute to the final grade. And in this case I will call it 50. And then I'm actually going to, down at the bottom, distribute weight evenly across all items. I didn't do this before in the points-based grade system because I don't like the way it works. But here I think this is perfect because I can have quizzes that I grade out of the raw number of questions or the raw number of points I want to grade out of, and it doesn't matter how many I have, they will all contribute equally to this quiz grade, which is awesome. So now I will go to save and close. And now the angry text is gone, which is nice, but I still have a little bit of work to do. This quizzes category, I have to have items in it. So I'll just start with, I'll go to new, and then item, and I'll do 2 quizzes exactly like before. So name, quiz 1, and if you'll recall, I actually graded these out of 10 points before, but that was kind of arbitrary. These are really 19-point quizzes. I have 19 questions on them, or 15 normal questions and 1 4-point matching question or 4-point essay question, whatever it is. So I'm going to grade this one out of 19 points, and you'll see this weight box. I can't change that. That is because I checked the automatically distribute weight evenly across all items in this category box. It'll calculate this for me. So if I have 1 item, it'll be 100%. If I have 2 items, they'll be 50%. And this is really nice because you can add the number of items you need without figuring out exactly what percentage those contribute. So if I had, if I have 9 items here, for example, that I want to contribute to my quiz categories, that would be 11.11111111% each. I don't want to type that in. I don't think you should type that in, so I did the automatic assignment. So now I'll go to save and new, which is not something we've clicked before, but that'll just take me right into creating the second grade item. Just like before, I'll choose numeric. I'll call this one quiz 2. Make sure I choose category, quizzes. And it'll default to 10 points again. Let's say this one, quiz 2. I thought students had a few issues understanding some of the bigger concepts I presented in this one. So this time I wanted to add not just my quiz 2 content, but a few extra questions to touch on quiz 1 content. So I'm going to have more points. But I still want it to equal the same amount of course grade. If you don't want that, you'll have to set up a category where you don't distribute weight evenly, which is fine. You just have to keep an eye on grade on this weight box. So let's say my first quiz was 19 points. I'm actually going to bring 5 of those questions to quiz 2 as review, and I'll have a 24-point quiz. This time I'll just click save and close, and you'll see the weight is 50% of that quiz's category. Calculated that for me. And now this is what my gradebook looks like. So you'll see I have an exam with 65 questions. That's 50% of my grade. Then I have quizzes worth 50% of my grade, and I've got 2 of those right now. I can continue to add as many quizzes as I want. But these quizzes, I've got one with 19 points, one with 24 points, which would make grading really easy for me because I'm grading out of whole numbers that are practical and easy for me to think about. And each of those contributes 50% of this quiz's grade. So that's the basics of setting up a weighted gradebook. I really do prefer the weighted option, and I hope it makes sense to you. There's also a document attached that you can look at and get some more information. If you have any questions, feel free to call us.